Today we talked about The Wire, Edwin's incoherent mumbling on introspection, and forced diversity. Diversity is important when done well. If you can provide a different perspective on what we discussed, share your thoughts on our Instagram, Twitter, or at our website, tiltednotstir.com. Omar's coming.
Hello, my name is Edwin.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Frantic.
And together we are Tilted Not Stirred. So what has you guys tilted, guys? What's going on?
Nothing, man. I've just been chilling. Finished season 1 of The Wire, so that was cool. I mean, I'm excited about it.
How many seasons does that have?
I think 5 or 6.
Oh, man, you still got a ways to go then.
Oh, yeah.
Did they catch the baddies yet?
I don't know. Is there spoilers for a show that's 10 years old? 20 years old?
So is it like a show where at the end of every episode they crack the case and then they move on to another one?
It's more like Breaking Bad, where it's one story, right, that you're following, and then at the end of each episode they give you just enough to be like, oh shit, what's gonna happen next?
Oh,
it's not necessarily, it's not a cliffhanger, it's just like, oh fuck, you know.
So it just adds layers.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
I recommend it so far.
The Wire.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Cool.
HBO.
It's a very old show, right? I think
like
early
20
2000s.
years.
Yeah, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Post 9/11.
I went to a wedding just yesterday, and it was pretty nice. The couple seemed like they love each other. I don't know if you guys have ever been to a wedding where
I still haven't.
The husband, the bride and the groom, they're not even seen with each other. It's just awkward. Like, man, I thought y'all loved each other. What the hell is this?
I've never been to a wedding, but I hear they have great food.
I mean, it always depends.
The
Yeah.
food was all right.
And this wedding in particular, I mean, I can't believe they pulled it off. I think a week before the wedding, the venue canceled on them. And so can you imagine that fucking complication?
Damn.
So
dirty.
everything was probably less than perfect, but it seems like they loved each other. So let's, I guess that's the most important part of the wedding.
Yeah, congratulations to that couple.
To the newlyweds, for sure.
Whoever they may be.
So what's up, Edwin? What you been up to?
I've been working, and let's see, what did I do? I don't know. I've been doing a lot of introspection and a lot of I don't know, a lot of procrastination for sure.
Nice.
Hell yeah, that's my shit right there.
But
have you been procrastinating because you've been thinking a lot?
no, well, I mean, I've been like kind of thinking about myself and how I relate to the world around me. It's just different. You know, a lot of things that I thought were normal have been kind of just like I in some way, shape, or form, I know that I could be difficult, but I also realize that I'm difficult because of who I am as a person intrinsically, you know, and it's kind of because I live my life as normally as possible without anybody knowing something other than what they see, you know? Okay. It's just I don't know, it's weird. But anyways, let's
I mean, that's pretty cool. Like, just to touch on that a little bit more. Sometimes I do wonder the kind of, how would I put it? Like the pressure I put around in my surroundings. Because I try not to get in other people's way, but maybe me just existing might be some like a pressure point.
Damn, that's some existential shit right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it could be like, that's if you, I don't know, you think you're just hanging out, but to somebody else, you're just being lazy and not really doing anything productive, and that can aggravate them or something like that. It's something weird where I've been thinking about how I affect other people, how I affect myself and my mood. Mm-hmm. And since I interact with so many people on the daily, It's just like I am more conscious of my space and the people and their space around them, you know. So it's just like I don't know the I don't know just the interactions, the simple interactions, and how a negative interaction can have cascading effects as well. Like if you keep getting difficult people every single day, it's gonna accumulate to you being frustrated or more and more frustrated. So I've been thinking about all of that and how little things that I can change or think about differently, you know, like with having to work with the public all day, I've need to stop assuming that the public knows things, which is kind of weird because in the end of the day, you're just like, you have to take a tone in which you're like, hey, you know, you don't know, let me tell you. That's a proper reaction to someone not knowing something. Oh, you don't know, I'm going to tell you. You're not frustrated, you're not mad, you're just saying, hey, I'm going to tell you. But in a workplace where you have to keep moving people along, they don't know, and they ask questions that seem irrational to this person that does know, then that's when you're like, oh my goodness, what the hell, dude, you know?
Yeah.
So I've been thinking a lot about like those little minute details of like what I do know, what people don't know, and how I should interact with everyone to be a more pleasant person, you know? And to me, I like to think that I'm a pleasant person, but in reality, I have acknowledged and I've observed on myself that I may come off as a not pleasant person, you know? So,
For sure. I mean, I think it is important sometimes to be introspective and learn how you can control certain things that otherwise may not seem very controllable. Because you can't control the way people will feel about you, but you could control maybe like hand gestures or face gestures that might give off something different. So yeah. I can see that.
And I'm a very intense person. Like whatever I say, it's how it is. You're never gonna get any other layers or anything other than what you see. So if I tell you something, you know how I'm feeling, you know what it is. But, you know, like, sometimes I can't even read people. You know, you like to think that you know how to read somebody, but if someone doesn't know how to read you, you're just lost in the sauce. You know, you guys are just there, not understanding each other's vibes, and it can get really frustrating. So, this all seems very cryptic, but I assure you it is not.
Right on.
But,
And I'm gonna use that as a segue into something that I thought was kind of interesting this past week. Is because you're talking about introspection and, you know, what are the vibes, things like that. But someone who completely missed the mark is OnlyFans.
Oof.
And so
didn't they reverse? They reversed their
After backlash.
So they announced the ban of sexually explicit content, which was vague, right? Because no one really knew. Okay, so is it just intercourse? Are tasteful nudes okay? Like everybody was kind of trying to figure it out, right? So they announced it on August 19th, that there was gonna be a ban, and they reversed it on the 25th, and that was all because of all the backlash. And so everyone and their moms knew that this was a stupid idea. Like, how are you going to remove your biggest income and revenue source
Because of money.
and just think that everything's gonna be okay? Like,
It's
oh, we're
because
gonna
of
ban
money.
this and there's gonna be no repercussions. Yeah, I understand money, but like, you're giving up the thing you're known for, which is insane to me. But basically, all the creators on there, even after the reversal, they're saying that the damage has already been done and that they're already moving to other platforms. And like, I saw tweets saying like, hey, so we're still like not going back on OnlyFans, right? Like, You know, I don't know how big the movement is, but it's kind of tone deaf to say you're gonna ban something that you have a huge amount of like creators in that space, and then expect them to come back after you reverse it.
Their logic to it is that they wanted to not expose, but bring exposure to people that were like professional chefs, you know, instructors of whatever kind. They just wanted to bring professionals of whatever field up. But what I'm saying is, if I'm a chef, I wouldn't want to tell people, "Hey, check out my channel on OnlyFans," because people are going to be thinking I'm referring them to my dick online. Like,
Yeah, but that's what they wanted you to think it was about.
You want to
really
check out my sausage?
What it was about was that I think the major credit card companies threatened to stop, you know, allowing them to charge their cards. You know, like Visa, MasterCard, all of them. They were like, yeah, we don't want to be associated with those websites unless you clean your shit up. And if they can't accept that payment method, then, you know, then money doesn't come in. So they were like, oh, well, we're going to clean it up. We're going to clean it up. That way we can still take your money.
So then what makes you think, how were they able to pull off the reversal? If the problem was that the banks were like, no, we don't want to be associated with this, then what has allowed them now to make a reversal?
I don't know. Probably alternate payment methods. I'm guessing PayPal don't give a shit.
Well, they're saying that they're able to secure payment methods again. So I don't know. I haven't dived in too much as to like any statements brought out from the banks. But
well, they're never going to make a statement. The banks themselves.
Yeah.
do you guys know anything about that? Okay, so my workplace does not accept American Express, and I have no clue why.
I don't know. I think a lot of places don't accept American Express.
Why?
They probably charge a fee in order to have their service, or they might require like another machine. You know how like when you pay and it's on a device, you might need a special device for American Express to like connect to them, right?
Or maybe the big credit cards are just like, hey, don't accept payment from these guys. Here's some extra cash.
Oh! If you accept American Express, we're pulling out.
So American Express are not underneath. Are they not underneath MasterCard or Visa?
No,
They're their own card.
Yeah, they're their own card.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so confused. Holy shit. Okay, well, that makes sense the way you guys explained it, but every time I had to explain to someone we don't take American Express, and they're like, why? And I'm like, I don't know.
Sometimes it be like that. You just gotta tell them. Sometimes it be like that. I don't know why.
Yeah, so like, I've been thinking a lot about like, why is it that we don't take American Express? Like, what's going on there? But apparently, you guys just explained that Visa and MasterCard, they have ways to just say, hey, we're not gonna do business with you guys anymore, and that's just the way it is. That's wild to me.
They have ways. I don't know if they exercise those ways. Like, I don't know. So take that with a grain of salt. I don't know if that's what's going on. What I think is more probable is just that they need another machine. And then instead of just having two machines, they'll just do the one and then just, you know, run it with MasterCard and Visa.
Mm-hmm. As a professional consumer, since I'm American, it just doesn't make... Like, it baffles the mind to think, hey, I have a credit card, I have a debit card, and I have cash, and something saying like, "Oh, we don't take
your money."
Yeah, we don't take debit card or credit card, and you're like, "Okay, I have cash." You have a way to pay for it, but to think about, you have all these forms of paying, but you cannot pay with your at all. Like, it's kind of wild. I never thought about that.
I'm sure it's just logistics and stuff, like different systems, but well, yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think that creators should go back to OnlyFans? Like any of them that already left?
I'm personally a fan of Only S Fans.
Only S Fans?
Yeah, it's this new coming up site. S Fan himself is promoting it.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
Oh, wow. Edwin?
I mean, there's people that have like their entire livelihoods on that thing. You know, it's just like, hey, let me show you my asshole, and I could buy a new car. It's just like, I don't know. There's people that are like top contributors or top what are they called? Top. What do they call them?
I don't know, man. I'm not on that.
I'm not on that either. But they call them like top. You're like in the top percentile of content creators, I guess.
Okay.
So they have their top percentile top content creators, and that's how they filter people. They'll be like, hey, this is what all these people like, you know, because they're giving all this person money, you know. So it's just like, oh, this is the most popular person here, that kind of thing.
Yeah. My thoughts on it are that well, they already felt demonized, right? Like they felt like, oh, this company doesn't care about me. What I would say is go back to OnlyFans, but now that you know that they're capable of doing something like this, kind of have that backup ready now, instead of like before you just rake in the money without really thinking like, is there an end to this?
Yeah, have an OnlyFans, but have your link to the Patreon on the same page.
There you go.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing we touched on during the Work to Live podcast episode. It was, you know, you have to make your job work as hard for you that you work as hard for it, you know?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So, you know, you gotta also have an exit strategy for sure.
All right.
Okay.
Well, if that's it for OnlyFans, again, go on to the topic for today.
Oh, Gamescom. Did you guys check out Gamescom?
Yes, that is the topic.
Well,
dude.
it's
okay. Let's talk about the good stuff of Gamescom. Let's talk about that first.
Okay, am I jaded or any of those games did not look interesting?
Marvel looked interesting to me. I don't know if I'll get it, but it piqued my interest.
Well, you did like Fire Emblem.
Wait, what?
Are you talking about the
yeah.
the strategy game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that one seems interesting. I'll look at streamers. I forget what it's called. Something Sunset or something about the sun. I don't
Golden
know.
Sun, Black Sun.
I think it was Golden Suns or something. But
yeah, that game seemed cool. The game that I thought was most interesting, and not because I want to play it, was Dokkan.
Oh, I don't know what the fuck that was about. That looked like a trip.
Yeah.
The Pokemon Korean game that looked fucking insane.
Yeah,
Yes.
the graphics were like, they look so insane that it looks like you need like a 3090 to run this game. But basically, it's a Korean game where you're supposed to be running around collecting ghosts, right?
Yeah, and like Pokemon or whatever.
Yeah, I had to look a little bit into it because the trailer itself looked like just a lot of really cool gameplay.
Yeah, it was like a kid on a skateboard, and then they were flying.
And then all of a sudden, you were
rollerblades.
fighting. You were fighting like Monster Hunter.
And I was like, okay, I don't know what this game's about, and
So-
I'm not gonna play it.
So the thing
I'm down
about
to
this
play it, boys.
the thing
That
about
sounds
this
fun.
game is that you're playing as a child, and that's just weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like you
Pokemon's
being
been like
you being
this.
a child character. Yeah, but Pokemon has always been like a 2D game to me, you know? Like, is it a child? I don't even know. How can you tell? But Dokkan clearly children, and I don't know anything about like how it's gonna be monetized or
Wait,
anything
did
like
you-
that. It just looks cool, but I don't know.
At some point in the trailer, a child turned to a very sexy woman. Did you
Yeah.
see that?
I did.
Yeah,
that was weird.
I was wondering what the fuck that was about too.
So am
I
I
was like,
gonna
what?
be?
Did they
Am
just
I
go
gonna
Super
be?
Saiyan?
Yeah, am I gonna be able to be a sexy woman all the time? If so-
but you're still technically a child, so I don't know, man.
If
I ain't
if
touching
there
that
wa-
game with a 10-foot pole.
I am. That
Oh,
seems like a
God.
great time. No, like the everything else that you can do, all these activities, you were like able to fly around, drive cars for some reason. As a child, you were able to like fight giant monsters. It sounds pretty fucking fun.
It sounds like fun, but I think
Oh,
I don't know if I'll get over the kid part. Like if they, let's say that they said, oh, as you level up, your character like gets older, then like okay, well maybe at some point I can at least be a teenager or like something a little older, but it's just weird being a kid.
That trailer seems like you just get diabetes off that trailer. It was just so many colors.
For sure,
It was just sugary. It was
overload.
a sugary trailer.
Eye overload, yeah. Then go ahead.
I was just gonna add another game that I liked. I was a fan of the Amazon Delivery Simulator.
The Death Stranding.
Yeah, it looks good. I might get the director's cut.
Yo,
Oh, are you gonna get Death Stranding so you can race really slow cars? Did you see?
Bro, did you? So it's a
You don't have to
walking.
do that. All right.
It's basically a walking simulator, and now it introduced a buddy bot, which will now do the walking for you. So
Yeah, that's fucking
you don't
cool.
even you don't even
You can
have to
ride
play
on
the
it
game.
too. That was
you don't
tight.
even you don't even have to play the game, dude.
Be Norman Reedus
So-
on a robot. That's cool.
So before that game came out, I was so stoked. I was so excited. I was like, Hideo Kojima's coming back. Metal Gear Solid is gonna come back. It's gonna be great. This game is gonna be amazing. And then I played, I think, 2 hours of it. And there's cutscenes where you have to shower.
Oh, cool.
And you just watch Norman Reedus fucking shower. Then you get out and you're like, oh, I'm gonna drink a monster. And he has like a whole pack of monsters on the table, and he just drinks one. And then he's just like, oh, maybe I want some Doritos. And the Doritos are there, and I'm just like, ew.
Yeah, the product placement is insane. Then I never
See,
played it.
This happens in movies, right? Like, why are you getting mad about it happening in a video game, but it happens in every movie?
Because it makes me do it. Whereas in a TV, I can just stare at it and be like, whatever. I'm gonna ignore that part of the screen. I'm gonna do something else. But because I'm making the action and the focus is on that monster can while Norman Reedus fucking drinks it, it's just like,
Okay.
And
What
maybe
the-
stare at Norman Reedus, bro. I don't know.
what the fuck am I doing here? And then like I got to the part where I peed, and I was like, wow, I can pee in this game. I just whip my dick out and start peeing. And there's a gauge that measures how full your bladder is. You know,
Holy shit. Hey, that's the kind of realism that we need in video games.
and you gotta like you have a baby with you, and then if you're playing on a control, you have to rock your control like it's a baby, and it's just like, what am I doing with my life? I wanted to write a whole thesis on that game, and by the 2 hour mark, I was like, why?
When do I get to play the game?
I'm walking here and there's epic music playing, but I'm just walking. And then like if the terrain is a little bit uneven. So what I'm giving this game is that the terrain is the most dense terrain ever. It's like, what I mean by dense is that the polygons on that terrain are so insane that anything can make you stumble, like in real life. If you can't just run through a field, you're gonna hit a hole or something that an animal has dug, and you're gonna fall. You know, you just like you see a field, you cannot assume that you can run through it. You just can't, because you might just fucking twist your ankle in a hole or something.
And
The game is
you gotta deliver them packages.
the game is just
2-day
like
guarantee, bro.
2 day, 1 day, same day.
Oh, same day, shit. It's tough in the streets for Norman.
that. And then people beat you up while you're trying to fucking deliver packages, and you're like, "Pero por qué, dude? Why?"
I don't know, man. It just sounds like that game was ahead of its time, even for you.
Like that Donda album. I love Kanye, man. I'm not gonna say I don't like it on air. But I might not like it, dude. Not yet.
I'll have to take a listen. I'll give the folks at home my thoughts on next week.
For sure, for sure.
What what I love about Kanye is that just saying you like Kanye, the immediate response is, "Man, fuck Kanye." I talked to somebody and that was legit their first reaction. "Man, fuck Kanye." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, damn, what did he do to you?
I talked to my so I have a coworker who's adamantly like his hatred for Kanye transcends everything. He cannot focus on anything if I'm around and tell me that Kanye sucks, because I told him I like Kanye. Okay. So he's very, very young. He's 18. I don't know what his very first album he got exposed to from Kanye would be, but I'm assuming it's somewhere around. I don't know if it's past graduation or graduation or so, but if it was graduation, he should have loved it, you know. And if it was my dark beautiful twisted fantasy, he should have loved that too.
I mean, Edwin, you just got Kanye's balls in your mouth, though. So, like, does that really mean anything coming from you?
Damn.
You know?
I think something that you have to make a distinction of nowadays is like I love Kanye's music. Because if you just say, "Oh yeah, Kanye is dope," then people are gonna be like, "But have you heard this? He did this. He said that." It's like, yo, chill. I like his music, man.
Shit, I only liked his first album. Come at me, Edwin.
I respect that. I respect that you like his first album. It's a great album. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just I don't know, like all these people that are like all these other rappers that I'm a huge fan of, like Childish Gambino, Kid Cudi, Schoolboy Q, like Kendrick Lamar. All these people came from like a evolution of what Kanye was, what he established. He laid the groundwork of you don't have to be hard on the streets. You don't have to be a fucking gangster. You be a fucking preppy kid who dropped out of college. You could be that and be a rapper, you know. So I respect that. But people are so quick to forget.
Well, that's what happens when you're not in. There's a circle, and if you're outside the circle, then it doesn't matter what you do. You're outside the circle.
Man, fuck yeah.
And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, because Gamescom was cool. There was some cool games, all that stuff. Twitch chat, being Twitch chat. You know, there's a lot of people spamming the same stuff, like, oh, where's New World? Where's New World? Lost Ark. Where's Lost Ark? Lost Ark waiting room.
Was that you, Frantic? That was you, Frantic.
That was not me. I barely ever say anything in Twitch chat, but there's like the resident sleepers, right? Every single game that comes out on screen, if it's not New World or Lost Ark, everyone's resident sleeper, fucking complaining about frames per second. But the thing that tilted me was people are like, "Wow, what is this woke trash? Oh, too woke. Oh, woke this, woke that." It frustrated me to no end because like people can't see things without their lens, right? Like their political lens. It's so frustrating because okay, so you have, let's see, Saints Row. The Saints Row trailer had like an ethnically diverse cast, and it even have like a black female lead, which I thought was cool. It's like, oh hell yeah, man! These I don't play Saints Row, but could be a cool game. You have Call of Duty Vanguard, that one has a female lead.
Oh
and
hell yeah! I fucking love Laura Bailey.
And so she's pretty cool. And you got all these people like, oh, woman, like, you know, making fun that, oh, I woman, I strong. And then you have Halo Infinite that also has like a black female lead for like the Spartan Academy. At least that's what they're teasing. And again, people take issue to those things. In my head, I'm thinking, why can't these characters just be those characters without you thinking that it's being forced on you? Like that's the thing that gets to me, is that if we truly live in a diverse world, when are people going to be okay with seeing diverse things in like movies, commercials, games, without ever questioning like, oh, you're just pandering. Oh, you're just put this person because, you know, the woke movement, for example. Because I don't think it's very woke to put like a female lead in a game. Is that am I wrong on that? What do you guys think?
I don't know. It just depends on the context. Context is what matters every time, dude. If it's just a female lead, it's just a female lead. Who gives a shit?
I mean, yeah, 100%. I feel like the wokeness has moved. I don't know. I don't want to say it in a weird way, but it's moved on from being a woman. Now it'd be like a non-binary person as your main character. That's where it'd be like, oh, whoa, that's crazy. They're doing something crazy. But before, yes, like being a woman lead, that was crazy in video games, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But then like Lara Croft was there. You know, you have Lara Croft, you have...
Did anyone ever complain about Lara Croft in the Tomb Raider series? I wonder.
I would imagine so.
Yeah? I
But
mean...
if the game from the jump was about a female lead,
well, a
then
lot of
how
people
can you
complain
complain about that?
People lost their shit when they found out Samus was a girl.
Yeah, when Samus was a girl, yeah. But a lot of people complain about the over-sexualization of these female leads, though. Like, that's another thing. That's a whole...
That's another rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's a whole different... I mean, you can look at Lara Croft and be like, yeah, why did she wear that? She's an explorer, right? But then you look at Nathan Drake, who's, you know... what do they call it?
Nathan Drake from
Dude,
what?
no, they call it Dude Craft or something. No, it's a play on Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, a Dude Raider.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, they just call it Dude Raider, and it's exactly Lara Croft, but it's a dude, but he's not sexualized. He wears just regular dude clothes. But I don't know. Forced diversity. That's a huge kind of worms, in the sense that I felt okay. So there's a trailer for the Batwoman show on the CW, right? And I had a huge issue on this Batwoman commercial because it was just like the whole trailer. Okay, so the song that's in the background between like everybody talking, it's saying, "I'm a woman, hear me roar." That's literally what the background music is saying. Okay? And then like they have scenes like they show her the bat suit for the first time.
Yeah, this is the scene that did it for me.
Yeah, they show her the bat suit for the first time and they say it's perfection. And she's like, "No, it's not." And the guy that's showing her the bat suit is like,
"It wasn't even a guy; it was a girl who was showing it to her."
Oh, the girl that's showing her the bat suit is like, "What the fuck? What are you talking about? This is a bat suit." And then she's like, "It's not perfect until it fits a woman." And I'm like, "Come on, dude. Okay."
And then cue the music.
Cue the music. I'm a woman.
Yeah.
So to me, I was like, okay, all right, let's calm down here. I would love a show like this if she just did Batman badass shit. Like, go do badass shit. That's cool. That's awesome. If you're a girl and you're doing badass shit, that's fucking cool. I'm down for that. But if every single time you're saying like, "Oh, did you see? I did this badass shit. I'm a woman." And it's just like, now are you saying you did this badass shit despite you're a woman? Are you saying you did this badass shit because you're a woman? What's going on? Like you're pandering at every moment you get, and it just doesn't sit well with me. Just make her do badass shit. Let her do badass shit. And like, she could say badass shit. That's cool. That's awesome. But if every single time she does something badass, she reminds me it's because she's a woman, and it's just like, cool. I knew that. I could see that. Don't insult my intelligence.
Yeah. Shit. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, I have a story very similar because I was watching Supergirl like way back when it first debuted. So I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna give it a chance." I watched the first episode, the pilot, and the whole show, like, oh, it's pretty cool. It's about her, how she's like learning her powers, learning her strength, trying to come to terms with being a hero, right? So like the bad guy attacks, and she's still inexperienced, but she goes to fight him anyway. And then they're in the office. It's some like her boss and some other dude, and he's just like, "Oh, do you think she's ready?" And she just looks at him. "Why do you not? Is it because she's a girl?" And it's like, what the fuck, dude? Where did that come from?
It's like, whoa.
Yeah, like he has every right to be worried about her.
Yeah.
Because she, like, the whole story was her not even being sure about herself.
And then she like they kind of just turned it and made it like, oh, clearly he doesn't believe in her because she's a woman. And it's like, what? No, like the story wasn't built around that. Why just shoehorn that in out of nowhere?
Remember, like
I see what you're saying.
that Tobey Maguire scene where he fights that guy in the wrestling ring. Now imagine if they said he's. I mean, we obviously know he wasn't ready. He's getting his ass kicked, and then it's just be like, oh, it's because he's a very young man or something. I don't know. It'd just be like that statement right there. Nobody would bat an eye at it, right? Like, oh, it's because he's a very young man, doesn't know his powers. Cool. We're all okay with that. We understand that. But then also, like,
I kind of like, because we have like a context in the world. I think that's kind of the problem, is that we can't appreciate things for what the creator is doing, because we're looking at it through like the landscape of what is Hollywood right now, or what is like certain movements, right? And so we can no longer just look at things and be objective, because now it's like, oh, they're just pandering. Are they pandering? I don't know. What is this? So
Well, it all depends on the context for me. Like when they just throw it in your face for no reason, that's when I'm just like, what was the point of that? But when it's just like there, when it's normalized, then like I don't give a shit.
that's what I mean. Like normalize women doing badass shit. That's cool. Normalize it. It's normal. Women could do cool shit. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, like I was watching Young Justice, right? And Aqualad is gay in the comic books. I didn't know that, but I was watching the episode and he just starts making out with a dude, and I'm like, hell yeah, get some Aqualad.
You're like, all right, so this is who he is. Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
like, yeah, get some Aqualad. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if imagine his whole character is just, I'm gay and look at me do like superhero stuff, but I'm gonna say I'm gay like all the time, just to remind you that I'm gay.
That's just a part of him. That's why it's done right, because that's just a part of him. In the show, he's just like this badass leader who gets shit done. And like that changed, him having a boyfriend changed nothing about him. It was just a part of him. So I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, that's dope.
So I think that matches very well with the definition that I found online. Is that forced diversity is when diverse people appear in a work for the sole purpose of garnering attention and or sales. Forced diversity is when diverse people are poorly written. And so that really touches on what you just said, is if the writing is poor and they're just having the characters say certain things to like kind of like, how do I put this? It's like they're saying it so that you can believe it instead of just them showing you so you believe it.
Yes, you're like reinforcing at every moment with shitty dialogue. I mean, a lot of gay people have been misrepresented in a lot of, movies and shows. It's just like, they can't be normal. They have to be flamboyant and stuff.
They have to be super gay or else it's like,
you gotta ham it up, be the gayest thing imaginable in the universe, and then even then they have no say in how the story progresses. They're just a side character that adds the hilarity, the was it dramatic relief? They just come in, say something funny and really gay, and then they just disappear. It's inconsequential, and it's just like, that's not how you show that you support these groups. They're just here just to be your little monkeys for the time being, Dance, put on a show, and you're out. Get the characters that are more widely accepted, to lead this story.
I just want to give a quick shout out to The Wire, because I feel like they do it right, without spoiling anything. There's like 2 so far in season 1 that are like gay, but it's just like, alright, it's cool. It's a part of their character. Without spoiling anything.
And the thing is that they're probably not out here telling everyone, like, why? You think is it because I'm gay? It's like, whoa, chill, dude. But who knows? maybe some part of that kind of stuff. Like, is it because I'm a woman? Like that kind of dialogue might just be because that is something that women experience.
Yeah, that's also entirely true. We don't have that perspective from a woman.
Yeah.
So I wonder if women really do appreciate all of that, saying like, "Oh yeah, she is a woman. Hell yeah, power to you." Like, but at the same time, I don't know. I feel like it just insults intelligence. You understand that she's a woman. She's doing cool shit. Like I don't know. We're just saying the same shit over again, but I wonder if that does make like women pop off every time she says, "Yeah, it's because I'm a woman." She's like, "Well, I'm a woman too. Hell yeah, let's go." Does that make people pop off?
I think that at first, just to see that your race or your gender is on the big screen, I think that at first can be kind of like, oh hell yeah, but then once you kind of see the shtick, right? Like, oh, this person doesn't actually become anything more than their gender or their race, or you realize like, well, they could have added a lot more depth to that. So I don't know how they feel about that kind of stuff, or like, oh, like that suit would be perfect if it fit a woman. I don't know if that appeals to anyone. But I think we,
not to throw salt in the wound, but that show got canceled, so I don't think it appealed to anybody.
yeah. Yeah, I think we're a little past that part, and now we kind of just want the characters with depth, right? And
Yeah.
if they happen to be a person of color, then cool. Have it be that way.
Maybe we're just not fans of shitty writing.
I mean, I don't think anyone is.
Like people like Blade. People would consider Blade the first black superhero, right? But no one no one remembers Blade until Black Panther came out, and it was just like, oh, Blade existed a long time ago.
There had to
But-
be someone before Blade.
I thought it was Blade.
My first superhero, like the first black superhero, for me would be Blade, and I never thought of it as like
Mine was Green Lantern.
he's black. I just thought of him as like, damn, Blade's a cool ass character.
That dude was badass. He was flipping
Yeah.
and dipping and shit, and it was just so cool.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I like
maybe
Blade.
the writing was just good there, because I don't know if in any of the Blade movies it was ever touched on like what his skin color was.
He was just a cool guy that did cool shit, and everybody wanted to be him.
And he fought Triple H in the third movie.
Oh, that was cool. That was cool. I normally think that like sequels suck, but I watched the Blade movies and I was like, hell yeah.
Nah, the third one's pretty bad.
It was bad. Like some of the writing was goofy, but I mean, I still watched it because the action was still cool.
What did you? Okay, so a more recent example, Black Panther. Black Panther was just super fucking cool. It was just really cool to me. The other character, what's his name?
Killmonger?
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan's character. He was emphasizing that the culture that was being like displayed for art, displayed, all this stuff was stolen from black people. That was his character. He says all this culture, everything around us, this was all stolen from us. And that's what made him hateful and stuff. But it wasn't. It was truth. There was truth in what he was saying. Everything was cool. But it wasn't like that was good writing.
Mm-hmm.
And what am I trying to say here, guys? You guys know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I get you. Although I saw his character completely different. I saw more of like he grew up in the streets. He saw the struggles, and he was like, "Y'all got all this. Why don't you share it?"
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
how
another
how I
part.
viewed his character.
Yeah, but also with the museum scene, he's saying like, look at all these people. Look what these people have to display here. It's us. It's our culture that they stole from us, and now they're displaying
I
it.
don't remember that scene at all. I just remember him saying, "Oh, that's Wakandan," and then he takes the spear and kills the lady, and then he takes that mask because he fucks with it, and I was like, "Damn, that is a dope mask."
I just thought that character, the whole movie was really well done, and it was just like, at any point did they just say they were, oh, it's because we're black, or it's just, look, we're all black? No, right?
I didn't watch it, but from what I'm hearing, it sounds like the characters are expressing their reality rather than like what they are. It's like, I guess a clear distinction would be like what you are versus who you are. So if you're talking about like who you are and like your struggle and like this is why I think certain things, then that's a lot of character depth versus a character just saying what they are, and then you have to just take it for face value.
Yeah, and then you'd have to like put in your own what your own definitions of what that is, right?
Mhm.
And it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't make for pleasant viewing or video game playing or anything that just include things that have no depth. They're just there just to, I don't know, would you say pander? It's not even pandering, because I don't think they represent those communities very well at all.
Yeah. I would say just like check marks and like people who don't. I think it's also a learning curve.
Old suits of businesses, they're just old, out of touch, and they're just like, we have to have a gay character. Yes, that's a gay character. All right, let's do it.
That's definitely how it was at the beginning. But I think the learning curve is starting to catch up a little bit, and they're starting to really know how to incorporate a diverse cast without having to be overly patting themselves on the back. Like, oh, look at our diverse cast, and then have it be said in the work itself as well. Like, hey, look at us. We're so diverse, aren't we? Like, you know, like there's no dialogue like that. That's basically what I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about today, because it's really annoying that people are still kind of stuck looking at things through this lens without first seeing like how we mentioned about the depth and all and the writing and stuff like that. Like they just automatically go straight there. It's frustrating. Yeah. You guys have anything else you guys want to add?
If you're gonna include someone, don't be lazy about it. Do your research. You know, also hang out with people that are the demographic that you're trying to portray, and portray them with respect. You know, it's just, everybody's human. We just gotta love one another and just be like, hey, they're normal, we're normal, you're all normal, everything's normal.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But
For sure.
that being said, I'm on the Dokev YouTube video, and
The Dokev?
yeah, this shit's insane. I've been watching it on mute while we're talking, and Jesus Christ.
Wow, Edwin, thanks for putting your best foot forward on your.
Well, I mean, yeah, I 100%. I definitely said what I had to say, and also like I agree with the sentiment. I surmised it by saying that, you know, be respectful to the communities that you're trying to represent.
Yeah. For me, I'd say I'm not at that level where we have to signal out any company or anyone doing some sort of like forced diversity type of stuff where they're like completely just shitting on like what this character could have been and you just made them a token. I'm not at that point yet, but what I will say is to our listeners, this might not even be something you think about, right? Like they might not even give a shit about diversity stuff. But for those who do care, I'd say let's first try to look at the character themselves and see, and like at least hope for good writing, and then make our judgments from there. Other than right away because of your political ideology. You just start thinking like, oh, this person's pandering, rather than like truly seeing the meaning behind it all.
I had a conversation with a coworker recently, and I told her that it was in terms of like other things, but it applies perfectly. And I think I've told you before, Frantic, in a private conversation, that we need to start digesting the content that we partake in. You know, instead of just consuming without thinking, it's just start digesting it to be better human beings in general. You know, we digest and not even think about what we're consuming, and we regurgitate it later without even knowing exactly what's going on. I mean, the whole context of our conversation with my coworker was pseudo-intellectualism. The fact that people who watch, Rick and Morty or listen to Joe Rogan or something like that, they take that as face value, but don't really know or understand what's going on to the extent of like what's surrounding the context of this talk, what's going on within like everything else. You know what I mean? I feel like people need to be more conscious about what they're consuming and start thinking about the things they consume. It's not okay to just be watching something and then just, hey, this is who I am now. This is what I'm going to spit out into the world. Mm-hmm. And that whole thing applies to our conversation today. You know?
I agree, man. Jeff, you got any ending thoughts?
You have to have a very high IQ to understand Rick and Morty, Edwin. Let's just start with that. Sorry, I had to throw that out there.
There's a lot of physics. There's a lot of physics jokes that goes over a lot of people's heads, including mine. You know, I'm just there watching it, and I'm like, that's a physics joke that I don't know enough about. You know, that's like. There's a lot of really smart shit in that show. It's just that people who watch it think they're smart.
Nah, but I guess my ending thought is just we as a society need to get to the point to where if we see something that's diverse, we shouldn't care. We should just be like, oh, this is normal. And I don't know how far out we are, but I think we're getting closer, which is a good thing. I'm definitely very not caring about these things. You know, if the writing is good, I don't care, right?
Very true.
Not caring is probably not the way you want to phrase it. I mean, it just doesn't affect you in like any way, shape, or form other than, I mean, it doesn't affect your enjoyment of the thing. I mean, you can still be happy for those people who are getting represented, right?
I guess, but
I don't think about it that far.
Yeah. I'm just indifferent.
I gotta
I think about my enjoyment. I'm very selfish. I think about my enjoyment.
I don't look at
everybody does.
Like an Asian character, like an Asian character in a show, and I'm just like, you know what? Good for Asian people. This is great.
Yeah,
like, I don't think about that
at all.
Yeah,
I think you're on that other level, Edwin, where you're,
extra level.
Yeah, where you see it, and that's part of the problem.
Well, I mean, I just finished Kim's Convenience, and I was just super happy about that show, and I loved it. You know, it was a Korean show about Korean people. Well, not a Korean show, but it was about Korean people, and it was amazing. And then turns out there's a spin-off coming off of that show, and the only non-Korean person is the one spearheading that show. Yeah, the only non-Korean person from that show got a spin-off. And it's just like, there's a lot of complications with that. But it seems like the majority of the cast is happy for that person. And they should be. I mean, everybody worked, equally as hard in that production, but it's kind of weird.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe you're part of the problem where you saw it as a Korean show when it was just a television show.
But initially, it was a Korean person who wrote the play. Initially, it was a Korean person who wrote the play about Korean people. The show got taken over by non-Korean people, and the script became like kind of what we're talking about with the whole wokeness, is having Korean people just be Korean, with the lens of white people writing it.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's just like, how can you relate to what is Korean when it's white people writers, So at the end of the day, the spinoff is announced, and the only other white person in the show ends up with the show that is a spinoff.
Well, let's see how that one goes.
Well, it's great. I was a fan of the show in general, and that character that got the spinoff, she's a good actress. She's a great actress. So, I don't know. I don't know. You do say I am part of the problem in that sense, in that regard, and I understand it, Jeff. I understand that it's because...
I'm also just pulling your leg.
Yeah, I know. But I get it. I get where that comes from. If I'm seeing it, then... But at the same time, maybe we're just not at that point anymore where you have to keep calling it out. Just make it normal.
Mm-hmm.
Just make it normal.
For sure. And I mean, a little bit like harking back to the beginning of the episode where you talked about being conscious about like what you do to your surroundings. I think this topic in general, it applies to that perfectly. Because like whether you care or you don't care, your decisions on what media is popular can have a deep like consequence as to like what Hollywood thinks is profitable to put on the screen.
Yeah.
So I think if we continue to support good writing, I think that'll get this thing going. Yeah,
Right.
that's basically it. So if nothing else, right on.
Sign us off.
All right. Well, y'all can reach
Okay.
us at our website at tiltednustard.com, where you'll find links to our Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. You can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, and the YouTube.
Remember to join us to share your questions and voice your thoughts on what has you tilted, not stirred.
See ya.